Minecraft 1.20 is out, so it's time to dust off the launcher and satisfy the urge to mine and craft things. In this video, I'll be talking about how I get started whenever I crave messing around with the blocks. Most of the tips and methods are not exclusive to 1.20, it also applies to older versions of Minecraft as well, so you may know some of it already. If you're looking for tips and tricks on exclusively 1.20, or if you're looking for what's new in the update, this video is not for you. However, I will give you one tip for 1.20. If you are looking for cherry trees which spawn in the cherry groves, look for them up high. In my experiences, they always generate up high. I'll have another 1.20 tip later in the video. Keep in mind, what I talk about in this video is based on my experiences and may not be the best for everyone. If you learn something, great. If not, and you have different ways of starting out in Minecraft, great. No need to take my word for it. First up, world creation. Before creating your world, it's best to check the options and settings to ensure they are to your liking. I would turn the brightness up, change the field of vision to 90, set the music to 0, ensure auto jump is still turned off, it's off by default now. If I have any resource packs, I would set it to Silder's Fabulous Shaders. I do not know if that still works in 1.20, but I would like to believe so. Next, it's almost time to create the world, so I usually rock the random seed, the starter chest, and turning cheats on because I'm a filthy casual. Or I dislike the rain, whichever comes first. With a click of a button, you'll plunge into a procedurally generated world of untouched wilderness and untainted beauty. It's time we change that. Next, the spawn point. If you chose to have a starter chest, it would most likely have at least basic tool in it. If you get a wooden pickaxe, that's one less step toward acquiring a stone one. Before you start moving around, keep in mind you are at your spawn point. If you take an L and get your face ripped off by an unsavory fauna, you get respawned at the spawn point as long as you do not have it reset to a bed. What I would do is press F3 for the debug screen and press F2 to screenshot the coordinates that's at the top left of the screen. If you need to come back to spawn for whatever reason, you'll know where it is. Keeping track of the spawn point is not the only thing you can do with screenshots. You can also keep track of the coordinates for your future home base and other points of interest. Of course, you can always install a minimap mod, but this is vanilla. Mark off the spawn point so it's obvious, and now you can decide which direction to run towards to in an effort to find your future home base. It can also be a good idea to mark off the direction you went to, so if you screw up on that 360 spin jump off a cliff and miss the water, you maybe have a better chance of getting your stuff back if you know which direction from spawn you went to. Next, the first day. My first day is prioritizing getting a bed, some food, a few torches, some coal, and maybe some iron. It's the basic stuff we're talking about here. If I do not find my future home base by the end of the day, I definitely need that bed to skip the night and the nights after that. I do not want the baddies taking advantage until I'm comfortably settled in at least iron armor. I also would like to keep whatever little food I find, so avoiding unnecessary damage is key. Next, no need for a house. For my first playthrough in 1.20, I spawned into a nice flat area with plenty of space for my needs, so I stayed. Once you find the area you want to build your home on, you do not need to start building immediately. For one thing, there is a lack of materials to do so, and another thing, I would prefer to get geared up first. In other playthroughs, I sometimes mine into a mountain and be done with it. Farming. By now, I'm sure you have some food collected along the way to your future home. I prefer a more non-vegetarian diet, so all the innocent fauna met the wrath of my crappy stone sword. Whether or not you gave in to your carnage desires, starting up a farm early can benefit you greatly in the future, especially if you start up a wheat farm in order to get leather for books, wool for beds and carpeting, and meat for food. Aside from the usual wheat farm, it's not a bad idea to grab a few sugarcane while you're out and about, and really ramp up production at the edge of the water so you can have a lot of paper for books and sugar for weakness potions. Mining. After setting up some farms and animal pens, it's time to mine. With the Caves and Cliffs update, we have to dig much lower to get to the optimum level to dig for diamonds. Before that, I tend to build some nice stairs down to level 15. It took a bit more time and some materials, but it was worth it in the end. However, to dig down about another 75 levels and have to run up even more flights of stairs gets old fast. This is where I employ another strategy, and that is to dig straight down. Whoa, hold up there, let me explain. We are talking about breaking a basic rule of Minecraft. and that's to never dig straight down. You can drop into lava, break into a huge cave and go splat at the ground, or get your face ripped off by mobs. I say the risk is acceptable. The chance of any of those things happening is not 100%, and I bet it's not even 50%. If you meet a timely demise, you wouldn't lose much anyway, because you're just starting out. You'll probably lose an iron pickaxe, which is probably almost done after you mine down so many levels. You'll probably only have 1 or 2 pieces of iron armor at that point. You'll probably survive a drop into a cave, and mob spawning mechanics has changed with the Caves and Cliffs update. Instead of mining straight down in a 1x1 block of space, mine down in a 1x2 block of space. You can stand right in the middle of the 2 blocks and alternate between the 2 sides, so you'll always be standing on a safe block if you should break into something dangerous. At first, ladders will be needed to go up, and that's tedious. This is where water elevators come in. Sailing around the ocean, you'll likely see magma blocks at the seabed with bubbles coming out of it. Get near the bubble column and you'll get pulled down. That's the elevator down. How to get a water elevator that goes up? You'll need a soul sand block instead of a magma block. You can get those in the nether. Treasure. At this point, I would have already found diamonds and enough iron to make a full set of iron armor. I usually mine 5 diamonds, 3 to make my diamond pickaxe, and 2 more to make an enchantment table. During this playthrough, I went in a totally different direction to get my first diamonds, and I didn't even have to mine down for it. A diamond pickaxe is needed to mine obsidian, so I can make the portal to the nether. Is it necessary? No, you can make a portal with just a bucket, a lava pit, some water, and flint and steel. Heck, you don't even need flint and steel. Just some carefully placed lava and patience. If you know this trick, you're probably a pro Minecraft speedrunner, and I question why you're watching this video. Dotted across the world are these wooden structures, these fail boats, or shipwreck ruins. You'll never find an intact ship somewhere, nope. In almost every single one, you'll find 1 to 3 chests. There should be a supply chest, a treasure chest, and a map chest. The supply chest is basic stuff you probably don't need. The treasure chest can contain more lucrative stuff, such as iron, emeralds, lapis, gold, enchantment bottles, and diamonds. It's only a 14.1% chance as of 1.20, but I like those odds. At least it's not 1 to 3%. If you do not find diamonds, you can grab the buried treasure chest in the map chest, which will lead you to a buried treasure chest, which has a chance to generate a diamond at a 59.9% chance. You may even get 2 of them. If you do not find the 3 diamonds you need, go find another shipwreck. It also helps to be near an ocean. The Nether. The Nether is not as bad as some people say it is. You have not experienced the dangers of the Nether until you have played modded Minecraft. However, this is vanilla and it's not that bad. All you have to do is watch where you step. In my experiences, I believe the most screw-ups you'll run into is not running into anything but falling into areas you do not belong. Such as a nice hot pool of lava and burning fire. Lots of fire. At this point in the playthrough, I'm sure you do not have fire resistance or protection in any way, unless you made an enchantment table already and enchanted an armor piece with it. Even with just that, it's gonna hurt if you smush your body into lava. You'll have to keep your eyes open, watch every step you take, and take note of the mobs near you, even the passive ones. These zombie pigs love to go up your stairs and push you off. Unintentionally, I'm sure. As soon as you spawn into the nether, take whatever blocks you have mined so far and create a box around the portal. Add a door and maybe some windows with bars in them. Will it be worse if you don't build a box around the portal? Nah, you just be safer this way. And when the silly raiding pillagers walk into the portal from the overworld and make a nice home in your box, you'll get a nice surprise the next time you go into the portal from the nether. There are a few things needed from the nether. I usually look for soul sand and the bone blocks for the water elevators. You can choose to ignore this if you do not plan on making any. The most important things to get are nether wart and blaze rods. If you do not get nether wart, it's not the end of the playthrough, just get the blaze rods. Ultimately, the blaze powder you get from the rods or use for making eyes of ender to get to the ender dragon. You do want to beat Minecraft, right? To find the blaze rods and nether wart, you'll have to find a nether fortress. It's a big structure made of nether bricks with raised paths that look like aqueducts. You'll either get lucky and find one right away near your portal, or you can spend hours and hours looking for one and never finding one. But hey, you found 2 to 3 bastions. Bastions are large black stone structures filled with angry pigs. You could go to one of these and get your nether wart, but you probably won't find blaze rods there. During my playthrough, I did not find a fortress right away. I had to go in random directions, get turned around a lot, made some circles around and around, and finally found one far from the portal. The path I made to get there is treacherous, and one misstep will mean my demise. Before going into a fortress, have one important thing, a shield. Before going into the nether at all, bring a piece of golden armor and equip it, so the piglins do not attack you when you're stumbling around looking for a fortress. A shield blocks the blaze's fireballs, and since you probably do not have fire resistance, it's highly recommended. The nether wart is in a room down somewhere in the fortress near the sim stairs. Grab the soul sand too if you haven't already. Once I've found a fortress, I was not having any of it. I took all the blocks I have and made straight, safe paths from the fortress back to my portal. You did remember to screenshot your portal's coordinates, right? Here are a few more tricks you can do. There are maps you can make to assist in navigating around the overworld, but did you know that they also work to some degree in the nether? You won't be able to see land masses or lava pools, but you can see yourself on the map spinning around endlessly, just like that useless compass you thought would work when you arrived in the nether. FYI, you can make the compass work if you use a lodestone. When using a map, you can also mark down points of interest with banners. Just shift right click the map on a banner and it will appear on the map. You can use the map to gain a sense of direction of where you are and make it back to the marked banner on the map. Pressing F3 will tell you which cardinal direction you are facing. If you go north, your point will go up on the map. If you haven't found a fortress like I haven't, it's not the end of the playthrough. You just have to keep at it and branch out farther into the nether in effort to find it. Before finding a fortress, I grabbed the soul sand and went back to my mine to make a water elevator. In order to make one, you simply cannot place down a water source at the top and a soul sand at the bottom of the shaft. That would be way too easy. The bubble column is only created in water source blocks and not flowing water. That means you'll have to take a bucket of water and place one down at every 1x1 block in the mine shaft you dug. That would be super tedious and out of the question. The way to do it is to get some kelp from the ocean and make it grow in your flowing water. Doing so will turn the flowing water into source blocks. Placing the kelp at the bottom of the shaft to the top while in the water is doable if you're a fish. You could get respiration enchantment on one of your armor pieces, but we're talking about 120 to 130 levels. One of the tricks to defy drowning water is to use a door. Place it down in the water and go into the block where the door is to get some air. This is also useful when looking for sea ruins and shipwrecks early on and maybe in the monument. Remember those bone blocks I mentioned? You can turn those into bone meal. Lots of it. And you can use it to grow the kelp at the bottom of the shaft so you don't have to place this kelp one by one while going up the shaft. This is way easier. Once I have the water elevator going up, I make smaller shafts down to certain levels such as -59 for diamonds and 15 for iron. I just drop straight down into the block of water. It is faster to fall than to take a water elevator down. Next, the villagers. Whether you have found a fortress or not, you can work towards one of the most time-consuming things you can do in Minecraft, dealing with the villagers. If you haven't found a village yet, it's not hard to find. They are literally everywhere. It is recommended to move villagers by boats or rail carts. I usually use boats. You can choose not to bring them back to your base, but I end up having to run back and forth continuously. If you do not want to move them, then you'll probably have to move to them. The villagers are important for their trading, namely the enchantment books. There is one enchantment book so coveted that it's the go-to enchantment for any typical playthrough, and that is mending. Having mending on your armor and tools means you do not have to make new tools and armor when you can no longer repair them. You can eat up some experience and the mending enchantment will mend or repair them. Not only can you get mending books from villager trading, you can get other enchantment books as well, and you can do all that without having to waste experience cycling through enchantments at the enchantment table. What I do to get the villagers back to my base, I would have to ensure the village I find can be traversed there by water. By spawning near an ocean in my playthrough, I was able to bring back villagers by boat by going through a convoluted pathway of rivers and ocean water. It's easy getting them in the boat, just place one down near them and they just get in without question, almost like they tripped into it. You might want to get one of the villagers up high so you can roll the boat down into the water. It's harder to go up. Once back at the base, I will have to move them into the new brand new house. In order to do that, you could put down a bed in the house and have them run to it when the night hits. In my experiences, villagers tend not to go where I want them to go. In an intense need for a job, they will make a beeline to one of your workbenches and take a job. Although, if you break the boat at just the right time, they could just make a beeline for the bed instead. What I did in this playthrough is use a piston to raise up the boat one level at a time until I can roll it into the house. Is it better than the bed trick? Probably not, but it's what I thought of at the time and it worked. Each villager, as long as it's not a nitwit, can take a profession when they find a certain workbench. I keep calling it workbench, but I like to call it workbenches, such as a lectern, a brewing stand, a composter, etc. When a workbench is broken and placed back down, the villager assigned to that workbench will have different trades. You can do this as many times as you want in order to get the trade you want. This is very important with librarians and their lectern work blocks. I'm sure you have done this yourself or have watched others do it too. You can just keep cycling the trades until you find the right one. Once you make the first trade, you lock it in. It was important to me to get the fortune enchantment on my first diamond pickaxe, so I can get more resources when mining, especially the diamonds early on. Of course, there are other enchantments I find quite appealing in my grind for fortune. I devote 2 villages to unbreaking and silk touch before landing on mending enchantment. The very first villager was a Fletcher, an easy go-to trader for getting those initial emeralds in order to buy the first few enchantment books to lock in the librarians, trading of those books. Remember that wheat farm you made? You did expand it, right? You're gonna need that wheat in order to make some bread, so you can breed the villagers to get more. While they're doing their business, you can watch through the nice wide view windows I've placed on the sides of the house. Oh, and you are also breeding the cows and sheep with the wheat, right? You're gonna need that leather to make books, and wool to make beds for the villagers. You do not need a ton of leather because it's time to employ another trick with the villager trading, which is absolutely an intended game mechanic. Now that I have a full set of diamond armor, I feel much more confident playing through the night. That means zombies and switching the difficulty to hard. Oh no, it's not a preference, it's a necessity. When in hard difficulty, zombies has a higher chance of picking up a block or an item left on the ground when they walk through it. This is important because a zombie holding a block or an item do not despawn. We want our new resident zombie to stick around so they can play with the villagers and have a fun time. And no, you cannot just wait for a zombie to spawn, trap it, and then switch to hard. If you switch to hard, the spawn zombie will retain its lower difficulty item pickup chance. So make sure you bite the bullet and go Doomguy on all the mobs when nighttime comes around. Another reason to go hard difficulty is that you do not want the villagers to die when the zombie attacks them. You want them to convert into zombie villages, and to have that happen 100% of the time is to have it on hard when the zombie attacks the villager. Why are we bringing down evil and despair on these poor villagers? They've been through a treacherous boat ride enclosed in a tight space and scrutinized by the outside world while they propagate with each other. Haven't they suffered enough? We are being merciful and compassionate when we hit them with a weakness potion and convert them back into villagers with expensive golden apples. They will adore and owe us so much that the only way to show their gratitude is to lower the prices when trading until they raise prices for a short time, and we end up sailing them into the middle of the ocean and left to ponder their negotiation tactics. This is where we come to another trick with villager trading, a trick so advantageous that it has become a staple of trading with villagers. You cannot not do this, and that is to get banked with a librarian villager. Once you have converted the librarian villager twice, and you will have librarians because they're enchantment books, you can spend 1 emerald for 1 bookcase, break that bookcase, get 3 books, and sell those 3 books for 3 emeralds. It's like stocks, but you are constantly winning. If you haven't gotten an enchantment table set up, there are your bookcases and books. You can promptly take out all the cows you've been breeding, but leave a few because meat is delicious. At this point, I will probably have to breed more villagers, so I do not have to wait for them to restock. I will make more farmers and other professions such as clerics. Clerics can buy glass bottles, the same glass bottles you made using the glass blocks you got from the librarian villages with the emeralds you rightfully gained by playing the stocks. Once I get the enchantments I want, it's time to work on the other enchantments that are not as important but I would rather have, such as sharpness on my sword and respiration on my helmet. One other enchantment I find important is protection. You will take considerably less damage if you have protection 4 on all pieces of your armor. If I couldn't get that at the enchantment table, I would have gotten that with another librarian. However, I managed to get it all on my armor pieces in a relatively short time. Of course, when doing these enchantments at the table, a lot of experience will be needed. In order to get experience, I opted to do continuous villager trading since each trade drops experience. In previous playthroughs, I would usually get a lot of animals and breed them until they turn into spitting infinity holes of pain, and or make a mob spawning box, or mine endlessly in the nether for quartz. I find it much easier to do villager trading to get my experience. This is the time-consuming part of running back and forth I mentioned earlier. Once you get geared up in enchanted armor and tools, that's it. You can go out there and rip Minecraft a new one. Go beat the Ender Dragon. Get the Elytra. What are you waiting for? Granted, you could beat the dragon much earlier, but for me, I like to strut into the end, take my time, and say hi. At this point, this is only the beginning for me. If I want to commit to the world, I could build nice things, such as a base or a house we skipped up until now. Maybe build an ice high one, a nether roof, grind for netherite, collect all the armor trims, or do the achievements. Advancements. It's called advancements now. Now for that other 1.20 tip. If you are looking for the sniffer egg, which hatches into the new mob for 1.20, you'll have to find them by brushing suspicious sand in the warm ocean sand ruins. The warm ocean is when the blue ocean water turns into a lighter cyan color. Maybe look for the corals as well. If lucky, you might find one of the ruins generated on land. And good luck finding the egg is a less than 10% chance to drop. Well, that's it. This has been my starter tips and tricks guide on how I start my Minecraft playthroughs. If you have a different way of starting your Minecraft playthrough, I'd love to hear it in the comment section below. If you liked the video, consider doing the typical YouTube things such as subscribing and hitting the villager bell, or hitting the like button. I also do gaming fan art from time to time, so check them out on other platforms. I'll see you next time.